Good morning and welcome to another video, Sea Fishing with Paul. Today I'm down at a place called Barton Point, which is a couple of miles east of Sheerness on the Isle of Sheppey. Reason for coming down here is all the other beaches I'd normally go to are unfishable because the wind is absolutely howling in from the southwest. It's showery, but down here, as you can see behind me, sea's very calm, tide's coming in, wind is sort of coming from this direction, so ideal. Species, possible thornback, more likely whiting, maybe the odd flatfish, and the very rare unicorn, the codling, maybe, but unlikely. Baits today, I've got fish, I've got worm, I've got squid, and I'm going to get a rod out now. I'm going to fish very simple, pennel rig, long trace on it, 170 ounce breakaway lead, keeping it simple. And who knows, let's get a rod out there now. Okay, one rod out, fishing over sandy ground, and I put a bit of a fish cocktail. So I've got a mackerel wrapped round a bluey, so nice and oily. So hopefully all the juices will go out and that will lure something in. But I'm just going to bung another rod out now. You can see ahead of me the actual point, which is made up of boulders and a sort of promenade walkway, and one or two fishermen, as I alluded to. But the sea is lovely. Bit grey, kind of the way we want it. Very coloured water, so nice smelly baits today, I think, is the order of the day. Rain is coming in, and I am trying to untangle what I thought was a very simple trace that I made, but I really need to get myself some of those little sponge sort of round, I don't know what you call them really, but you know what I mean, to put my traces onto, and I think I will order some tomorrow. Let's give you an idea of what sort of ground we're fishing over. It's sort of muddy, stony, I would say, and there is an oyster, which is still unusually in its shell. Now, do I take this home? One piddly little oyster, probably not, and I probably wouldn't really want to eat what's in here, not because I don't like oysters, but just the sort of crap that I'm fishing into with all the holiday parks, etc., along here, and you wouldn't really know what you're eating. So the oyster is going back. Now, I've been watching my rod tapping away, little sharp, jerky, sort of tug, 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 nothing, tug, 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 nothing. And I would suspect, having seen this over many, many years, it is probably a whiting bite. So we'll have a reel in and we'll see what's on the end. But there's always that anticipation, isn't there? What could it be? Kind of what I thought I would catch today, little channel whiting, but where there are one, there are others. So this little chap here he's not really big enough to eat, so I need to put him back in. How many hours of my life have I spent staring up into space? And I wonder how many of you fellows out there, if you added up all the time that we've watched rod tips over our lifetime, what that would be. Probably quite scary. Bloody technology. I've got this real fancy noise cancelling, wind cancelling microphone, but the wire that goes from the microphone to the phone, if you move the phone, so if you take any moving shots, it crackles. So I don't know whether the connections are loose, whether I need to put some WD-40 on, or what I need to do, but I need to figure it out. Because when you're trying to film in wind, it's rather tiresome. And yeah, it was crackling the other day, and I should have really done something about it. And I put it on the radiator thinking maybe it's just got water in it. But it hasn't. And one fish and not a lot else going on. But hopefully, tide's nearly in, you never know. Now I'll put the rod slightly lower, because if you have them higher, if you look behind me and you can hear the wind or whistling, that sort of protects us a little bit. But then when it reaches down here, if the rods are sticking up, it's smacking them all over the place and you can't really see what's going on. So we'll see how we get on with this. Right, the chap just next to me, he's pulled out a channel whiting, and that seems to be what everyone's getting up. Another chap just up to the left of that fellow, he's pulled the channel whiting out as well, and I've got something tapping away on my rod, so I better go and have a look at it. False alarm, unfortunately, so rebaited, a couple of lugworm on, and gonna chuck it out not too far, because if there are whiting around, they'll be a couple of yards out to 100 yards. But fingers crossed that I get something very shortly. But the secret to all of this is going to have a bacon and sausage roll, which I'm going to do now. And generally what then happens is the fish start biting. Part of the deal of coming fishing is cooking bacon, sausage, white roll, tomato ketchup, and eating it when it's really hot. And it's so much nicer, as I've said before, from eating it at home. And it's sod's law. Whenever you get a sandwich or cook food, your rod will start tapping, which is exactly what mine is doing now. Better go and have a look at it. Seems to be the story of today. Channel whiting and more channel whiting. And they're all about yay big. Not really worth eating. Probably more kind of live bait size, but let's get this little fellow back in.
Now this rod I've gone down to a single lugworm. I was putting two on, but they were getting stripped, combination of the whiting and the crabs. Other rod, large fish bait on with the hope of a thornback. Basically along this stretch of the coast it faces into the North Sea. It's the Thames estuary where it widens out. Quite shallow, muddy, ideal thornback territory, but today not looking that hopeful. Next week, tide a little better and probably stand more of a chance of catching one then. So fingers crossed I might be able to get one up onto the beach and onto the camera to you ladies and gents out there.
The bait I'm using is salted lug. Now these I got, I suppose, a week ago fresh, and I used them, and then rather than freezing them or letting them go manky in the fridge, if you salt them, they take all the liquid out, they keep all the flavour, and they work really well. And I keep a big tub of them as a standby if I can't get worms or I can't get to dig the worms because of the state of the tides. And I found them really effective, I have to say, for all the fish I catch. Obviously I'd prefer to have fresh ones, but I've got some more fresh turning up on Tuesday, and then I'm probably coming back down here again on Thursday. But let's see if we can catch some more whiting. Right, on the furthest rod we just got one of these, like, which is a very typical channel whiting. So some people could say they start to piss you off after a while because all you do is keep reading one after the other, after the other, after the other. But my way of looking at it is the amount of days I've come down and I've fished and I've caught zip, and I would have been really happy with just catching channel whiting, and I think today's one of them. But you always stand the chance of a bass or another surprise sneaking up, so I'm just going to go and reel it in and see what we got. And yes, you guessed it, another one of these little chaps. They got some pretty savage teeth on them, if you can see. I don't know if you can see, but real spiky, sharp little teeth. But I better get him back. I just want his big brother, one about 4 times the size of this, and then he wouldn't be going back. Going to fish one rod now because I'm tired of keep bringing it back in with crabs on it. But it's muddy, it's sandy out there, so you're going to get 1 or 2. Okay, another salted lug on. As you can see, the whiting very generously left me the other one. And a lot of you out there will have been watching Graham Pullen, the Totally Awesome Fishing show, or Totally Awesome Fishing, which many of you will have probably watched for several years, and I watch him. It drives my wife absolutely potty, I have to say, because he really makes me chuckle. And then a lot of people out there, it's probably a bit like Marmite, you either love him or you don't. Slightly eccentric, uses a lot of old gear, but he wouldn't be putting another worm on. He would have kept the other one and slung it out, but I got 1 or 2, so back out it goes. I feel like some Buddha sitting here, I have to say, in my little Buddha shrine. but I've had a few more whiting, and I haven't shown them to camera because it's whiting and whiting and whiting and whiting, and we want something a little different, but I don't think we are going to get anything a little different today. Wind's got a bit more gusty, although the water is still pretty flat, I have to say, so I've been quite impressed with here, and I'm going to come again. I'm probably going to come, what are we, with Saturday today, and I'm aiming to go fishing with my buddy Ross either Wednesday or Thursday of next week, and I've got bait turning up, but the tide is now pushing the other way, and I've watched a few lines getting crossed over other lines, but that's just a fact because we're all fishing fairly close together. But I'm going to reel mine in because it looks like it's swung round.
Having just spoken about lines tangling, you can see two chaps who've literally just got tangled up, and it's never good being the one at the end of the rod, although we've all done it, haven't we, from time to time, whether we're fishing on a beach or whether we're boat fishing.
This is what we're catching now. These bloody things. It's got a slipper limpet, in fact two, hanging on his back. Must piss him off a little bit, but yeah, what can I say? Crabs. Any other time of the year, or in the summer, he would be great for smooth hounds, but today he's going back. Lucky crab. Okay, finished. It is howling, and Ross, if you're watching, fellow, right call. It's doing that stuff that you don't like, raining, and it's that sort of driving, comes in bands and then gets sunny and then more sweeps in, and it's sod's law, isn't it? Just as I'm packing up, it starts to tip it down. But I'm sorted, I'm in the car. It was whiting, whiting, whiting and more whiting and nothing else. But not to be deterred. I think the weather is a little better next week, so I'm going to come down here again, and I'll be down here Wednesday, Thursday, and I'm going to fish the tide from it being reasonably far out all the way in, and then just a couple of hours out again and see how we get on. But ground around here pretty good, I have to say. It's pretty snag free. And as you probably figured from the oysters and razor shells and other things that I was finding, it's sort of stony, sandy, muddy, but rays really love it. And in the summer months, stingrays love it. But that's another story. A lot of other people are packing up because the tide's turned and not a lot going on. So I'm not going to clutter off home. Thanks for watching, as ever. Boys and girls, and I'd be really, really grateful if I could have a few more subscribers so I can get up in the morning and go, "Way!" But stay safe out there, look after yourselves, and we'll catch up on the next video. And big time thanks for watching. Cheers.